Hi, everybody. I wanted to wish you a good day, and I wanted to bring up something that some of you may or may not know. And given the fact of where we are right now, simply because of the fact that inflation is still with us, it's tapped off from the 9% that we were at to roughly 6.1%. But there is still a lot of concern for three very big reasons. Number one, with inflation, there's still quite a bit of market volatility at this particular point in time. So with that volatility comes savings issues. And we know because of the volatility, the second thing is that the Fed over the course of the last year has begun to raise interest rates, which means that the cost of borrowing gets a little bit more expensive. I've spoken about that on a couple of shorts here already, where I've spoken about how interest rates are affecting mortgages and automobiles. And the third is the fact that people are starting to borrow more money and they're using some of that money. In fact, one of the last shorts that I have done here actually uses more money against retirement savings plans, which is not the smartest thing to do for a number of different reasons. And you'll have to watch that short to understand. But I'm bringing it up because if you are starting to borrow money, one of the things that you should be looking at is the effect that it might have on your credit report. All of you, including myself, are always rated when we want to borrow on what those three numbers are when it comes to our credit reports. It affects our real estate buying, it affects auto buying, boat buying, and a number of different things. Even if you want to take out another credit card for a particular set of reasons, there is going to be a same effect on that. The first thing that I want to let you know about, which is going to be something that's going to be very helpful for you and a remedy for your success, is that each and every one of you should have access to your credit report to know what's on there and to take off any late fees or any issues that you see in that particular credit report. And I want to tell you a quick case study, and I want to show you what to be able to do. One of my clients came to me recently, and he wants to go back to school for something. And he asked to get a student loan, and he was actually denied the student loan. And that's because he had previous student loans. And what happened is that the credit repair company said, you were deficient on some of your payments, and therefore we're not going to be giving you those student loans. Well, I told him to check his credit report. And you should do that as well. You can go onto a website called annualcreditreport.com. I want to say that again. It's annualcreditreport.com. You can get it for free, and you can get it for not one, not two, but for all three credit rating agencies. And you should be able to get one every single month to get an understanding of what's on there. Here's what happened. He was actually getting a loan that was serviced by one vendor. The vendor was actually acquired, and because of the issues with merging the two databases, as it were, he was shown late on his payments when he was not. So now he is working with the credit repair company to fix those payments. And at this particular point in time, in the next 60 to 90 days, he will be able to apply for another student loan. So that's a great case study and a great remedy for your success. Always be checking for your credit reports. Number two, the cost of borrowing is going up. And when it was rampant in the 1980s and 1990s, the cost for credit interest, especially if you were late on a payment, could have been as high as about 27%. Believe it or not, that still holds true today, even though interest rates are far lower than they used to be. On credit cards, if you're late with a payment, it might go to 26 or 27%. There's a great way to get rid of that high-paying debt. Number one, if you have cash and there's cash in savings, pay it off. The best thing that you can do is get rid of the loan balances that happen to be on your credit cards. I happen to have been working with another client several months ago who, when you hear this, you're going to whittle back in your chairs, but she owed $126,000 in credit card debt. $46,000 of that was on one retail store alone. Believe it or not, one retail store of $46,000. We remedied that with some debt consolidation and other ways of debt repair. But my point in this is that if you are paying high interest loans, you could do one of two things. Number one, actually one of three. I named cash. Here are the other two. Number two would actually be wrapping those high interest loans and paying them off with a lower interest credit card. So take a look at what the interest is on your credit cards the next time you get a statement. And if you have a lower credit card, point those balances in that direction. There is then something known as a low balance credit card. And many vendors actually have access to them. Many years ago, I knew there was a company called Fingerhut, which is an online retail application where you can do that for credit repair. I know Wells Fargo offers this. Bank of America offers it. Now, understand something. These are promotional programs. Some of them offer zero interest for, say, 6 to 24 months. Others, it may be 2 to 3% for 24 to 36 months. You need to read the fine print. But what you should be able to do is pay off some of that higher debt with a lower interest rate, but you want to make sure that it's going to meet that time horizon when that promotion wears off. And the reason being is once the promotion wears off, the credit debt is going to hit. And then the third thing I want to let you know about when it comes to credit repair, the Biden administration recently took a look at all of the reporting agencies and took a look at healthcare. And with healthcare, there are many individuals, roughly 46 million individuals, that happen to have had at least $500 in medical debt on their credit cards. That could be things like an endodontist. It could be things like a teeth cleaning. It could be going to the emergency room, emergency care, the urgent care centers that are open right now. It might even be for prescriptions. But if you are owing medical debt, or if you owe medical debt, and it's actually coming into its phases right now, where you have $500 or less, believe it or not, it's being wiped away on your credit report. So I go back to what I said very earlier to see a couple of different things. Number one, to see if you have any medical debt on your report, because it could affect your credit. There's a number of combinations that always affect your credit. And it could be that healthcare and medical expenses are one of those. Things such as copay, where you are not looking at your EOBs, your explanation of benefits, and suddenly, like what happened to me, I was paying a chiropractic bill of $11. I know because I was coming right out of my debit account, and it was an EFT, and suddenly it goes to $45. And many people are just not looking at that $30 difference and thinking, it's just a one-time thing. I would take a look at it, especially in today's EFT world or ATH world, where everything is electronically authorized. It's just like, to a certain extent, the gym membership. If you're not watching it, you could be racking up money and not even knowing it. I had an issue many years ago where an endodontist, literally, I had to go for a root canal. And the next thing I know, I'm getting reports from credit bureaus wondering why I did not pay $700 worth of debt. And that's because the endodontist never came to me personally. As soon as the debt was owed, he went to the credit agency to go collect on the debt. Why? I don't know. And I had a $700 default. This is where you want to make sure two things. One is, if you could take advantage of the Biden administration's new edict on this, absolutely do that. But the second thing is, you should be checking your credit report, because if there is a way to eliminate that $500 debt, A, or B, if there's any misappropriation of information, in other words, the medical or healthcare organization got it wrong, well, don't treat it like a membership. It's going to affect your credit at some point in time. You're going to go like one of my clients did for the student loan and find that you can't get the loan because of the negative credit. You're going to apply for a mortgage. You're going to apply for an automobile loan, whatever the case may be. You want to always be checking it. Some people just say, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. If it doesn't affect you now, it will affect you in the future. And here's the big important point I want to leave you with. As the volatility of the stock market increases, as the interest rates begin to rise, so too will be credit card interest. You don't want to get caught and not be aware of what the interest rate on that card is, especially with a missed payment. I'm hopeful you'll heed this advice, and I'm hopeful that it helps you. And I'll look forward to seeing you on one of my webinars here at myCPE. And do not forget, for every single credit on myCPE, it's one credit, one meal. That's right. We feed a person in need. And I'll tell you, with this economic volatility, we're feeding a lot of people right now. And if you take into consideration the thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands in Turkey and Syria right now that are in dire need of food and other items, this one credit, one meal will go a long, long way. So take a course. And even if it's not CE, take a course just to feed somebody. God bless. I'll see you here soon.